Welcome back to the Mad Mike podcast. I am Daisie Perez.
I'm Reina Martinez, and we have some special guests here with us.
Hi, I'm Courtney Jones. I'm working with Wise Guys Alto Nights.
I'm Chamberlainista, also with Wise Guys Alto Nights.
And I'm Noam Denberg, and I'm also with Alto Nights.
So what do y'all do, like, working with them?
So I think all of us got a call during pre-production on the movie to come out to Cincinnati. Tons of people from different places, and then some folks who work locally. And we kind of set up the world of the movie as best we can with the tools we have, and try to source and build and get all the things together needed to make our sort of fake world look as believable as possible. So we work in the production office and kind of make sure everybody's where they need to be and are doing what they need to do. And Norm works with the art department a lot.
Yeah, so. Kind of right wing, and then we were across the office from each other.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part about working on the movie set?
Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, so I worked in the art department, so I saw a lot of the behind the scenes artistic side that is seen on screen. And working with our production designer, Neil, he was just wonderful, and just seeing how he storyboarded the entire movie. We had this like giant 40-foot wall, and it was just images of our locations, and then the designs and photos and references, and seeing how that translated into scenery, and then seeing that be built, then loaded in, and it's so quick. Everything happens in a couple days, and then it's gone, and it's location to location, and that was my favorite part, just seeing it come to life when we started filming.
It's a period piece too, so we're time traveling every day. Kind of make modern day downtown Cincinnati look like 1950s New York at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
So some context for you all listening is that everyone that we have here today was a part of the production crew of Wise Guys, like they mentioned, and Robert De Niro happened to be the star of that movie, along with other names that I'm sure y'all can shout out too. We don't know a lot yet because the movie's unreleased, but all I saw on the news was movie, Robert De Niro, filming in Cincinnati. They blocked off roads downtown. I'm sure you all were involved in that process. They filmed north of Cincinnati in Morrow, I believe, which is right where my wife's grandma is from. So she I remember her saying, yeah, they have some mob scene style movie happening down here, and she didn't know much about it either. Yeah. So that was going on, and then all of a sudden I heard from Miss Jamie, which is our resource coordinator, that the people involved in that movie wanted to donate furniture from that movie to us. And so that's the podcast table we're using now, and so much. And I know Daisie and Reina will have more to say about all of that, but we're just beyond thankful in the first place. And that's kind of why they're all here. And other than that, I wanted to give more context to everything, and y'all have some amazing questions. So Daisie, I'll let you take it over again.
We want to thank you guys for the furniture as well, because before this we had some chairs that didn't have legs that we were using when we were in here. They were really comfortable, but they were on their last life.
I think anytime we have an opportunity to share resources with other artistic endeavors within any community, especially where so many of us came from out of town, and then, we have this pop-up shop, it's like an absolute treat to get to meet more people in the community and see what you guys are doing, and, help if we can, how we can. So.
Yeah, it's kind of, you go into the place and you're only there for a few months, but you kind of like feel like you then live in the city. You're not just a vacationer, So you feel like whenever you leave, it's almost like you're saying goodbye to a friend in a certain sense. So it's like nice to be able to give one last thing to the city before we come back. Because there's a good chance, like, I would definitely work another job here, but I may not ever be back in Cincinnati. So it's nice to know that we're at least giving back before we leave.
It's our last day. We're all emotional.
What does your daily routine look like?
we're all over the place right now because especially there, we might have all started off with individual roles, but the deeper we get into production, the more we kind of lean on each other. And where my day might have started at the beginning of the show with doing, trying to get a working crew list together or finding the vendors that we would be working with and trying to find those resources. By the last couple of weeks, it's like, let's move that chair there. Let's get this food here. Let's do this. Let's place orders. So you kind of end up doing a little more when you really like the people that you work with, and you get to try to help each other. And then the more you do, then the more other people ask you to do things for them too. So there is some days that like I would find myself helping, like I helped our travel coordinator one weekend, or I helped our transpo captain. I was driving vans occasionally sometimes. I forgot about that. So like the more people like you, and that's how you move up, being good at your job is important, but being good and being likable is way more important, So
Yeah, and I think when you say be likable, just be you, because that'll shine through and all of that. My day-to-day, because I was in the art department, I feel like was a very different. We would come in. Oh boy, I feel like that was like months ago, but that was maybe 3 weeks ago. A lot of in the art department, we were responsible for making sure that designs got to construction that then were executed correctly, that had all the signage, all the prints. So there's a lot of picking up massive printing and dropping off drawings. We got to hang out on set and a couple times in the art department. Sometimes. I don't know where I was going with that.
And then you go out to visit the set that you have seen begin as like a pencil drawing on a grid, and suddenly it's this 15-foot palm tree in the middle of the Netherlands Plaza that has been built from scratch to try to just kind of add to the vibe of the set, and it's incredible to see that transformation.
What kind of food did y'all have on set?
There's a caterer who would come out every day and do a lot of meat, potatoes, vegetables. There's always some salad.
A lot of fig
snacks,
bars,
a lot of fig
Cliff bars.
Yeah, a lot of coffee.
Were y'all a fan of this food?
Yeah.
The
It's a treat.
The bigger thing is, again, we were in the office on this show, but when you're on set, they also have what's called crafty or craft services, and that's just like snacks, right? and it's always super stocked. It's whatever drink you want, infinite coffee, and there's a whole crew of people that are running that. So it's not just lunch, like, you're again, if you're on set, you're on your feet all day. It's 20,000 steps, 12 hours, but there's constantly food, snacks, lunch, everything.
Okay, so how many big stars have y'all worked with or met?
I haven't been counting, but I think it's I don't know, it's quite a few, but it's always interesting to see a different style of a different star of a different caliber, and working on a De Niro project and just seeing how many people are in his world that come along with him, and it's really great to get to work with people who've done some great things and just kind of see how they operate and what they do and learn from them.
Who would y'all say y'all would never forget meeting?
Anybody?
So this also would answer your last question. I think what's actually really cool is also seeing the stars behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite people I've met, because I knew who he was and I recognized his work, was our director of photography, was named Dante Spinetti. Yes. And he's you guys might be a little bit too young, but he's huge. He's worked with Michael Mann. Again, might be a little bit too young.
Look him up.
But look him up. But he famously shot this movie called Heat. For the older listeners, you'll know it's an absolutely gorgeously shot movie, So I think it was really cool to meet him, and I actually got to drive him around a couple times and talk to him. He's a very nice guy. He's from Italy. So, it was really cool to just the wealth of knowledge. I'm just driving him tomorrow, we had mentioned earlier we shot, And like just on the way there, it's foggy outside, and he can tell you about like the depth of field that the camera is going to capture and like how much texture the fog's going to add. And he was like, he's going along, and if you're going tomorrow, there's like little stone walls and stuff like that. He's like, oh man, this is actually a beautiful place. You could shoot Ireland here, you could even shoot northern Italy here, and he was able to just like, without any research, he was able to just look at it and then talk about all the texture and all the depth that he would capture on camera and everything that he could have shot there just instantly. And it's like, he's a legendary figure in the film community, but he's not like a star that like not everybody would know because he's not the big name actor. So that was my favorite star to meet. And I forgot what the second question was, but I think it answers it somewhere in there.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Like think about Daisy. Like think about that. The fact that you could shoot northern Cincinnati, an area, and make it look like Ireland on a given day. That's what a good director of photography can do. And that's what some of the things y'all have learned, you at the film camp, and then you as well just every day in the classes you're in. But thanks for mentioning, because there's so many more people behind the scenes that you're meeting right now to make any movie happen. We'll use some editing to...
Great. Good question.
What other places have you guys worked other than Cincinnati?
I've done a few, New York, New Orleans, Georgia, Texas, California, Virginia, North Carolina. That we were talking about this in the parking lot. You become a nomad without really realizing it, where it's just, you kind of set up shop somewhere for a few months, take everything you got with you, give it all you've got. A lot of times on a project you really, really want to be a part of, and then we break the world down and head somewhere else. New Orleans is a great spot to shoot in. There's just so much, like, in the way that Cincinnati, all the architecture and, it's like these wonderful cultural, artistic touchstones that are throughout the city are really just kind of ingrained in you once you've been there for a little while. So that's a good
What were you shooting in New Orleans?
I was working on a documentary about a group of Mardi Gras. They were called, I wish I could remember their tribe name. It was a Native American, African American community crossover, and they would make these beautiful, ornate suits that take the entire year to build. And it was great because we would just go and hang out with them. And
that sounds like fun.
Yes, it's like these guys you would just never expect to be sitting around sewing all day, watching TV, and just go chill with them. And then we'd take it out in the streets, and they're like, "This one's too windy for that," and it was a lot of fun. Nice. What about travel, you guys?
This is actually the first time I've traveled for a gig. It's to Cincinnati. But previously, I was blessed that Oklahoma City had a large production that I was able to join a part of and then meet people there and then get brought to Cincinnati. So,
yeah. And then I guess for me, this is my first movie, and it just happened to be in Cincinnati right as I moved here. So, yeah.
But I think the cool part about that is from Cincinnati and from Oklahoma City, you might not grow up thinking that like you can work in the movies, maybe a little bit less in Cincinnati because there's actually a solid amount that films in Ohio. But like, I know me, like, you think it's just like a pipe dream, but it's cool to see that it is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
What's your favorite part of being in Cincinnati?
Ooh. Do you have like answer out this every? I don't know. It's just kind of a little bit of everything. Meeting people. I live in Texas. It's hot all the time. So being in the winter here and like the snow it's just kind of magical. I know that's cheesy, but like, being in a different climate or just, I don't know. I mean, the I keep going back to the architecture, but it's really easy to catch your eye when you're driving around downtown and all that beautiful old red brick. And it's been an awesome city. Good food, good people.
How long have y'all been here?
October? When did you get here?
I got here September 22nd.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And leaves tomorrow.
And leaves tomorrow.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the movie Wise Guys?
Well, it's about two gangsters. We learned that they were friends very early on and that their relationship soured. It's a real story, and Bob De Niro plays two different characters, so you'll get to see a lot of him on screen. And after an assassination attempt, it's about the kind of unfolding of that relationship and how it echoes into the rest of their community. I don't think I gave anything away.
That's true. Yeah, what can we legally say?
These guys.
I would add, I would add that it's written written by the guy who wrote the book Goodfellas is based off of, which is a big tie-in, and then it's directed by Barry Levinson, who is most notable for doing Rain Man and Good Morning Vietnam.
And wasn't Rain Man here?
Rain Man was partially also filmed in Cincinnati.
Okay, great.
In fact, I got to meet one of his kids who had never been to Cincinnati, but he was born here during Rain Man, which I thought was interesting.
Oh.
That's so cool.
All right, I got a lot of questions. I wrote them all down while y'all were talking.
Shoot.
Did you ever think you would have this job when you were younger?
I want to answer this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So I really liked art. I liked design, and then I went to school for theater. Did theater for a long time, and after college, I actually had no idea what I was gonna do. I just got laid off a creative role for a smoothie company, and then I was laid off for a few weeks, and all of a sudden I get this random phone call, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to be a PA on this movie?" I had no idea what that was, what it entailed. I never worked a movie. I didn't know anything, and I just came in. And sometimes it's all about taking that leap of faith and just trusting it and putting everything you have into a certain given amount of time. And if you go into it with a let's just do it mindset, it could be beautiful, because this was life-changing for me. I think I met such wonderful people throughout this entire process. And it is emotional. Like, I'm staying in Cincinnati and they're leaving. It's like my kids going off to college. But then you just create family everywhere, and it's a beautiful experience.
You said you went to college for theater. What's your favorite musical?
Oh, that's a good question. I really, really like Waitress.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of good. Little Mermaid's also really good.
Do you have a favorite?
Yeah,
Hamilton, hands down.
Okay, great.
that's a great
Very
one.
good. Very good.
Oh. What led y'all to donate all this stuff to us?
When we come through, to a city for a project like this, there are all these things that we need just to make the office function and on a basic level for our group, and we end up shopping a lot. And in doing that, as people are starting to go out of town and we look around, and we just always want to try and support the community in any way that we can. And all this furniture, we just called Jamie and asked if it was something she'd be interested in, and she kindly took us in with open arms. So we just handed over everything we possibly could, and we're so glad you guys get to use it. It's really, really awesome. You had to put a little sticker on the table or something.
Let's see. Okay, so when y'all were younger, what did y'all wish to be growing up?
So I always wanted to do something creative, but I didn't know exactly what for a long time, right? And then eventually I decided I want to do movies. But the big thing, and especially from somebody from Oklahoma, is you don't think that's possible for yourself. And I kind of want to reflect this on you guys, the fact that you're able to just actually do something is more powerful than wanting to do something. Does that make sense? You can want to be, and this is the problem a lot of people have. Everybody wants to be a writer, right? And a lot of people will call themselves a writer, but you're not a writer if you don't actually write. So I think it's super cool that you guys are able to be here and do something creative and productive, because that already is a bigger step than 90% of people that want to work in film or podcasting or be a social media influencer or writing, anything like that.
For sure. I didn't really grow up in a world where working in a creative field was common or practical, but even though I wasn't totally sure I wanted to do movies, I always knew that like creative aspect was something I was passionate about, and got the advice from somebody of like, all you really need is one job. If you do that job well and you keep saying yes to things and you keep putting it out there what you want to do, and even as that changes between every job or between every project, you feel inspired by a different aspect of something, and then you can move in that direction, and it's kind of freeing in a way that allows you to grow and makes you, hopefully better for the next thing that you set out to do.
Well, is there anything you guys would like to say?
Or ask us.
Round table.
Yeah. Honestly, all of this has been one of the highlights of the production of rap. Sometimes it gets a little stressful, and then we get so focused on what's in front of us, but then being able to then take a step back and then give back and help out, it's the highlight of all of this. So, yeah.
For sure. I can't wait to see what you guys do. We'll be looking out for you. Gotta get the podcast up somewhere. Let us know where it is, and we'll,
It'll be
share some love.
like Podbean or
Cool.
Spotify. Yeah.
So what's some advice y'all have for like little kids listening? Us? Yeah.
Just go around.
Yeah.
I think anytime something inspires you, it's worth it to explore what that could look like. And the more you're vocal about what your interests are, the better chance you have of finding a community that you can really dive into. And there's so much more support than what often meets the eye. When you start talking to people about what you want to do and putting it out there, it starts to come back to you, and then you meet some really good people on the way and get to work in a field that you love.
Kind of what I said earlier, if you're just doing it, you're already ahead of the majority of people out there. As you grow up, you'll start to realize that the people that are miserable in life are the people that only talk about wanting to do something. So that's why I think it's super cool that you guys are here and you're able to actually do it. That's how you become successful, and that's how you become happy. Is if you want to do something, do it.
I think my biggest advice would definitely be, if you want something, ask for it. If asking will never hurt. The worst thing that can happen is you get told no, but you don't take a step back. You're just in the same place, and then you look in what's the next path. And then you keep asking for what you want, and the more you ask, most of the time it comes to you. And yeah, stick up for yourself.
Do y'all have any questions for us?
What's been your favorite episode of your podcast so far? Like, what are you looking forward to doing in the future?
My favorite one that we've had is our NKU podcast.
What is that?
That's the same exact one I love.
Northern Kentucky University. We had some esports players, because me and Reina are both on esports, and we got to do a podcast with them and just get to talk to them. So it was really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How fun. Yeah, go.
2 questions. First, what esports do you play?
I think we both do Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Who are the mains?
Kirby.
Kirby and
Chrome.
Okay, I was just curious. No, well, not anymore, but I used to play tons of Super Smash. And then my actual question, what do you guys want to be? Like, where do you see yourself in 10, 15 years?
You stole my question.
I'm not exactly sure yet. Like, I know I want to go to college. I'm not sure what I want to go to college for. Like, I think I want to minor in like production and all this stuff that we do in here because I really enjoy doing the podcast and stuff. So, yeah.
I see myself in college because I still got 5 years left of school. So
Wait,
Gotta
what year? What year? Are you
I'm a
guys?
9th grader.
Oh my gosh.
7th.
Wow. You guys are incredible. This is so rad that you do this podcast, and I feel like it's a really good way to figure out what you like and what can you fun to interact with, and all that good stuff.
I think this is my second podcast, but I find it really fun to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys again for coming. Once again, I am Daisy Perez.
Reina Martinez.
Courtney Jones.
Chamberlain Eastup.
Noam Denenberg.
And we'll see you next time for the Mad Mike podcast.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you.